We here, Free Bounce, the first interview of this great series, and today we have Namesake, a great producer, artist. I like to call producers artists myself. So welcome. How you doing
Thanks for
today?
having me. Good, man. Good. Just chilling, on a Sunday, relaxing. Nothing much going on.
Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, Jesus rose. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. First things first is tell me about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? Who are some of your influences? Like, what defines you and your music today?
All right. So I'm namesake from Kansas City, Missouri. Did I get that right? Live in Chicago now. What do you say? Who are some of my influences?
Yeah.
Like
So,
production?
yeah. So that leads more to my second question, but more just like, what made you choose to be a producer? What made you want to make music the way you do?
Oh, okay. I got into producing because there was a friend of mine like way back. I was in like middle school who was a few years older than me, but he had started producing for like some local artists around Kansas and Missouri and stuff like that. And I knew him personally. He was kind of showing me the stuff he was doing. I'm like, oh, this is super cool or whatever. I like beats. Like I used to, I knew who producers were, and I always liked production, but I didn't think I wasn't ever thinking about being a producer. And he just showed me how to use FL one day, and I was like, oh, this is like super cool. So ever since then, I just started making beats. But I didn't really start taking it seriously until much later, which is kind of something I did for fun. But yeah, over time, like I kind of got good at it, and I was like, oh, I should work with more people or try to sell beats and stuff like that. It's kind of just slow roll into what it is today. So.
Mm-hmm. So, one of my first questions, because this is all for the Free Bounce brand, and like this is all
Mhm.
about diversity and inclusion within music. And I hear a lot of different aspects of different genres within your style of music, and a lot of sound design things that most producers don't always work with. So, who would you
Mhm.
say are some of your influences, and what were some challenges in developing your sound and getting it to be sustainable?
Okay. So when it comes to kind of the sound I have now, or some of the sounds of my own production is kind of more popular, or the sound that people know me for, I guess. Um, I stumbled across that from listening to like a lot of like SoundCloud stuff at the time. So beforehand, I used to just make like whatever, like anything. I was really into like EDM and like French house music, dubstep music, stuff like that. And then I was also into like obviously rap and R&B, things like that. So my beats were like either one or the other. And then SoundCloud, maybe like 2012, 2013, something like that. I started coming across things that were eventually what would be classified as future based, but at the time it was kind of like chill step or chill wave, something crazy like that. Just people
Mm-hmm.
like just doing experimental things, but like with beats. I'm like, wow, all this music is like super cool. So I think it was like 2013, 2014 when I learned sound design. I got massive, tried to learn sound design on there. Eventually, Serum came a few years later. So I was inspired by those type of producers that were. I always thought the EDM guys were like the most talented as far as like innovation and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I didn't necessarily want to make the same genre of music, but I wanted to have the same capabilities in what I was making. So that's kind of how I stumbled upon that in the sound designing and stuff. And so when I started working with um, artists down the line, I was more equipped to create something that was a little bit more eccentric, kind of fit their vibe a little bit more. Because I just had the experience of like just sound designing different stuff for a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah. Who were some of those producers that you listened to before?
Um, so Madian's a big one. He's a French house producer. Um,
How you spell that?
Madeon, I believe. Um, Daft Punk, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to think more future bass at the time. There's this guy called Pusher, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Super crazy. That's I listen to him a lot. I think he makes like tutorials and stuff now. Um, who else was like big?
some
And
Sam G,
I
right?
don't know. You said
It was
what?
Sam G and Flume back then too, right? And
Oh
Lido.
yeah, Flume. I forgot Flume. Flume was like a really, really big one because I heard Flume. I was just like, whoa, this is crazy. Like I had no idea like what to even think. Oh yeah, so yeah, Flume, Sam G, Cashmere Cat, Lido,
Hmm.
like those guys. Super, super big into like the sound design, specifically like the way they would process their synths and like they would just customize them. You couldn't just get that from a patch.
Hmm.
Those guys, and then like on a percussion tip, like Monty Booker, Sam G again.
Hmm.
Those guys kind of had like a really cool like bounce and stuff that I gravitated towards. Um, and just kind of like there were so many producers and collectives and sounds and subgenres that were going on at the time. Like everything was like super inspiring. And so yeah,
Hmm.
for sure. If you've ever heard of the selection or future bounce, future bass, whatever people called it at the time. Like there was a whole lot of different emerging subgenres on SoundCloud at the time. So that I was listening to that exclusively for like 4 years or something. So
Yeah, I mean,
really,
same thing. I listened to Lucid Monday, Dillip, all those other guys. There's a lot of crazy producers online. You know Chuck Sutton too.
yeah,
Yeah,
Chuck,
yeah,
Chuck's raw.
he actually is mad close by here, but yeah, there's just a lot of producers that within the whole selection type of sound. It's a whole variety of people, um,
Mm-hmm.
and that it definitely inspired me early on as well as it did you. So it's one of the reasons I wanted to interview you is because not only do you work with my cousin Sammy, but you also just have a sound that's interesting to me as a whole. It definitely inspired what I do today. So
Much love, bro.
um, now on the artist part, I gotta ask you've worked with Caleb Mitchell, Jay Wood, Baki, Sam Stan, Patches, Baki Raw. What would you say was some of your most iconic or maybe most transforming creations that you had with them? So like I guess moments where you were creating with them and you're like, okay, this is something new I can do, or something. This is something really dope.
Um, that's crazy. All right, so thinking about probably like the earlier either Sam Stan or Pink Caravan stuff. I really started working with them around the same time. So that's kind of like where my whole sound came together because I'm an artist first producer. So like, okay, I have my own music and people classify me as a producer artist because I do that. But I also really like to cater to the artist a lot. Like that's kind of more of my thing.
Hmm.
So when it came to the sound that I have now, that was because of what I was trying to create from like Pink Caravan or like a Sam Stan and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I was just able to take that and then run with it for myself. Um, so yeah, I think I had made this beat before I made either of them. It was called like Mario Party. Um, and somehow, some way, Pink Caravan ended up hearing it. And she was like, "Oh, do you have anything else like this?" And I was just like, "Nah, it's just like a random beat, that I kind of put up."
Hmm.
And so I made her a different beat that same day, just like with a similar type of vibe. And then ended up being the beat for a Bravo Jewelry Store on the EP that we put out that year
Hmm.
in 2017. And right after that, maybe a few months, I started working on a beat for Sam, and it was the Das Blue beat. Um,
That's a nice
and
one.
so that's one of my favorite songs that me and Sam ever did. And so, yeah, that was just right around the same time, like when I was first getting started and into what I'm doing right now. So I would think both of those songs, the Robert Jewelry Store song and then the Das Blue song with Sam, and then Vroom Vroom with both of them on it,
Hmm.
which was kind of my first single as a producer that I wanted both of them to be a part of, which came later that year. Those kind of just kickstarted the sound I was going for, the artist, the type of artist I work with. Yeah, so
So like with Room Room, did you like say like, okay, I want to train? Like is that like
a train.
that's what, when I heard a track, I was like, okay, it's like a railroad. It's like a a cute train ride.
Oh yeah, no. So I had made the beat. Yeah, I was just working with Pink Caravan in St. Louis that day. We were just work. I was at some studio. We were just making beats, and it was a beat that I wanted Pink Caravan to be on,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't something that she was like really feeling at the time. It was kind of that beat's a lot different. If you listen to that first EP we put out, the beat's a lot different than like what we were doing at the time. It's similar aesthetically, but the vibe is different. And so she was like, kind of adverse to it or whatever. And I was like, oh no, this is gonna be cool. Just like, go freestyle something, I'll figure it out later. And so she literally said, I don't skirt. It's like vroom vroom. And that's like pretty much
Oh yeah,
it.
and let me correct myself. Not a train, a car. But
Yeah,
you had
car.
yeah, you had a
I
lot
knew
of
what you meant.
sounds that created like a like the moment I heard the beat the first time I was like, okay, this I already know where I am when I hear the beat. You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah,
it's very what's the word? When you're reading something they call it imagery, but like
yeah.
imagery is very powerful in that beat. So
Yeah, I added a lot of like ambient, Foley, texture type stuff. After the song was pretty much done, I added a lot of that stuff just to kind of bring the vibe together. But yeah, with the song though, she freestyled the hook, and then I sent it to Sam, or I sent it to Sam, and I was like, look, I got you know 4 bars of a hook. I like chopped up her vocals and kind of made it or whatever, and I was just like, if you could put a verse on this, if you like the vibe or whatever, like I would like you to be a part of it, then I'll give it back to Pink Caravan. We can try to make a song out of it. And so he does what he does, put a verse on it. I was like, oh, okay, well, we got a song. Like I got half a hook, I got a verse from Sam. So I just took it back to Pink Caravan, we finished it up. And so that was a lot of effort on my part, I guess, to kind of like get that song done and the vibe that I wanted and stuff like that, which I don't do a whole lot. But that was the first time I had ever really done it successfully. So
mhm.
yeah, it ended up coming out and I ended up doing pretty well too. So
Well,
I like that.
I think you're paving the way for a lot of producers because a lot of producers they'll give send a lot of beats out where like they could keep that beat, post it themselves, and buy a feature, or maybe have someone else hop on the beat and keep their name, they keep all other stuff with it. I feel like a lot of producers just send beats out and just in packs and don't really think about
Yeah.
what they could do themselves. So
Yeah. And it's pretty, I think producers have kind of like gotten hip to that over the last few years. Like it's pretty common now, I think, for producers to work with artists kind of like on a vibe or a sound that's their own and like put stuff out either on SoundCloud or Spotify.
mhm.
So yeah, I guess maybe I was one of the first. I don't think I was. There was definitely other people doing it before me. I know like Money Booker and Red Lene had a couple of songs where he was like credited as the main artist.
Mhm.
Um, there were like everybody in the beat scene, like Sango and Xavier Omar, like they had stuff out so there was like people who were doing it.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess that's how I knew it was possible. But it definitely did help though, because I probably would have a whole different brand if I had never done that. So you
Mhm.
know, it's important.
So tell me about the Netflix placement of Dear White People, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, that was completely random. I had nothing to do with it, to be completely honest. I just got an email one day from the music supervisor for the show. It was just basically like, yeah, we want to use your song. This is what episode we're thinking about putting it in. This is the scene we're about putting. It was already like they had already figured it out. Like everything was already shot and probably edited, at that point, and they were just like getting approvals in case they had to like, switch out a song or something like that. So they basically emailed me and everything was already done. They were just like, yeah, this is the feed, this is the placement, the like, if you approve, like we're gonna put this in there. If you don't, then we're gonna choose another. I don't know if they said that, but that was essentially kind of like what it was.
mhm.
And then we ended up being on the soundtrack too. That like was on the official CD that came with the project. So we were in the show and on the soundtrack, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, I guess who the music supervisor or whoever worked on the project heard the song. So super fire.
Now,
Yeah.
after that, did you begin to create for those opportunities, or did you just keep creating as just for artists?
I mean, I definitely still create just for artists. I've done a few other syncs since then. But I don't like just specifically create for sync placements. At least not yet. I might get into that. I know there's opportunity there, but it's not a focus of mine at this point. So
Okay. Um, all right. I have two questions from other people from online.
yeah.
One person asked how much to collab with you on a beat tape.
On a B tape,
Yeah, they asked how much is a collab.
I don't charge producers for collabs. That's stupid. It's just personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to collab, just send me something cool. My email is, or just DM me. Yeah. So yeah, just send me something.
And
We'll probably, if I like it, I'll collab. If I don't, then I just won't get around to
mhm. And the second question was someone asked how long did it take to create Happy Raps 2?
it.
Because I know Sammy works very slow. Shout out Sam saying it's his birthday today, by the way.
What? Today's Sam's birthday?
Yep, yep,
Oh my God, I gotta text him, bro. I gotta FaceTime him. I had no idea.
yeah.
But happy birthday, Sam. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that. But how long did it take to create Happy Raps 2? I mean, I don't know. I mean, from the first day I not met Sam, but the first time I ever sent him beats, I guess Happy Raps 2 was a thought or like in motion, I guess, because Happy Raps already existed. So I didn't, Sam had already put out Happy Rap, the first version before I even like ever sent him anything or really even knew about his artistry.
Mhm.
So at that point, if he was going to put up a follow up, it would have been Happy Raps 2. So, how long did it take? As long as it did between the two projects, like I don't know what to tell you,
Yeah,
but we
almost
worked
two
on a
years,
lot of
right?
songs. Yeah, we worked on a lot of songs in between then, and I think he released two or three EPs between then. So, and I have beats on multiple of those. I have like probably half the songs on there I did, or maybe a quarter to half of the songs. So, and then obviously I did the entire Happy Raps too. So
Hmm.
yeah, as long as it took from the time we put out Das Boo or Room, whichever was released first, I don't remember. From then until Happy Raps 2 is how long it took. So
Oh, fuck, that's patience right there. That's called patience right there.
yeah. I
Um,
mean, you got to because you want to do it right, and there's a lot more that goes into creating an album than just the music. So
mhm.
yeah.
All right, if you could give other producers or artists three pointers of advice, what would they be?
Work consistently every single day if you can. That would be first advice. That's really it, bro. Like I don't. There's nothing else I could tell you.
Consistency.
Like consistency. You just gotta work and just even if you don't feel like it, even if your ideas suck that day, like find something you can do. So like if I know I'm gonna have a trash day, right, and none of my ideas are crazy, I'll just try to do something that I'm not good at. Like try to a sound or a certain type of vibe that I'm not is not my best. I'll just do that because I'm like, okay, well my beats are gonna suck today anyway, so I might as well try something that's a little bit more challenging that way. Like if it sucks, I won't like feel as bad or something.
Hmm.
Because you're gonna have those days where the vibe is not good. Yeah, the only piece of advice I can give any producer or artist is to work consistently. And when you put out the project or the album that people have been waiting on, or your first thing, like still work consistently. You got to stay sharp, and you want to always be growing. So that's the best thing I can tell anybody.
It's awesome, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, if I had like a DJ thing, I'd press the clap sound.
Fact,
But
flex.
yeah, thank you for coming through for this. It was a great talking to you. And if you have anything else you want to say or just leave for the people,
Um, yeah. Thanks everybody for checking out the interview. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for supporting everything. Yeah, signing off. I'm gonna be working on new music very soon. Can't release any details because I don't know them. But stuff is on the way, so be on the lookout for sure.
all right. So y'all, this is Namesake. You'll find his music on the playlist next week and the mix next week on the Free Bounce Cycle 3. uh, and that will be on SoundCloud and Spotify. So tune in next week and stay up, stay healthy. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Yeah.